Is this the Dr. Ray?
What are you asking me?
Are all people mentally ill?
I have no idea.
Boy, you hit the nail right on the head there.
Now, why would I say something so dumb?
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
I don't remember what I said.
You're always contagious, by the way.
Am I really that awful?
I don't care. I'm not concerned with that stuff.
And I guess that's true, but doggone.
As usual, you're doing all the talking.
Well, are you better than God?
No way.
I'm going to give you some bad news. You got a problem.
I just wanted to call and get some wise advice, hopefully.
Now, from the studios of Living Bread Radio Network in Canton, Ohio, the hometown of Mother Angelica, here's Dr. Ray.
Do I think some things are better left unsaid? I do. And it is usually right after I've said them. Nice to have you here on The Doctor Is In. I'm the doctor who is in, Ray Guarendi. Not a real doctor, as my son said when he was 5 years old. Dad, can you give shots? No. Well, you're not really a real doctor then. I got my comeuppance from a 5-year-old. Anyway, we can talk. I'll give you a few thoughts. You've got a situation in your life, circumstances, something that you say, okay, obviously this is just a call in, but maybe I can get a little piece of education here that can nudge me in the right direction or keep me from going in the wrong direction. That's a big one. I can do that easier than I can nudge you in the right direction. I can stop you from going in the wrong direction. That's a better way to do it. So, 877-573-7825. You folks make the show. It's always that way. You make the TV show. And speaking of which, a couple of invitations here. I just found out somebody texted me today and said they could not register on the Quest, the Quest Atlanta, because we're coming down there, God willing, August 18th and 19th, to tape the TV show Living Right with Dr. Ray, now in its 16th season. We will be at Holy Spirit Catholic Church. We'd love to have you in the audience. The audience is critical to the fun of the show, to the success of the show. The audience asks questions. The audience claps when they're supposed to. They are part of bits. And you get your face all over EWTN because those cameras pan the audience more than they pan me. The reviewers pan me. So that said, love to have you. And checking our numbers, and we'd like them to be even bigger. You get up to about 100 in the audience, you really got an energy level there. We're not at 100 yet. So you go to thequestatlanta.com, and if it's not there, I know they're working on it. Something happened. There was a glitch. Go there. The little circle says register, and my text person told me they did that and nothing happened. So that said, it's going to happen. So if you have no success first time through, wait a couple hours, maybe a day, and try it again. All that. Now, second invitation, something I haven't done for years and years and years and years. Last time I did this, I think I did it at the Mental Health Center in Lisbon, offering a 7-week course on parenting. Only it's going to be different. It's not going to be a parenting course that says, okay, I'm the expert, and you people just kind of stumble along because I'll tell you how to do it. No, it's going to be something that helps you stand strong against this culture that's no longer on your side. It's going to help you stand strong with discipline and in the face of those people who critique you and criticize you and second-guess you. Lots of good discipline ideas. Many, many good parents listen to this program or might even take that course. But discipline's always a struggle for parents. Even for those of us who think we're doing it good, there's ways we can just bring more peace to our home. I guarantee it. I will tell you, you will come away from that program saying, wow, I am confidently in charge and my kids are benefiting from it. So you go to GRN, stands for Guadalupe Radio Network, GRN, online /Academy. And you'll see a number of courses that they offer there. And just click on my face, I think, And just go to the side there and give you all the details and how to register and when it is. I think we're starting on September 21st. It's a Monday night. And be 6 o'clock Eastern, or no, Central, 7 o'clock Eastern. That runs dangerously close to my bedtime. Dangerously close. But hopefully I'll still be awake by 8 o'clock Eastern time. All right, that said. I saw a post. It was really kind of creative. Lady on the post, young lady, probably in her 30s, and she was frustrated with her sister. Over and over, her sister did things that just bugged her. Not necessarily anything serious. She wasn't getting punched in the head, but saying things. You know the story. Most people in your life who frustrate you is because of what they say. Snarky or opinionated, or they're better, or they brag, whatever it is. And she was very frustrated. And her grandmother had been the recipient of her frustration on a number of occasions. And each time it was because her cousin did same-o, same-o. The grandmother looked at her, and she was sharing this on the post, and her grandmother said, "Can you buy oranges at a hardware store?" And the woman said, huh? What's that have to do with anything? Grandmother said, "Can you buy oranges at a hardware store? Can you walk into a hardware store and say, 'I'd like to buy some oranges, please'?" What would they say? "We don't sell oranges here." "Okay, thank you." And you walk out. The next day you walk back. "I'd like to buy some oranges." "We don't sell oranges here." "Okay." "Oh, okay, well, thank you." And the next day, "I'd like to buy some oranges, please." "We don't sell oranges at our hardware store." And grandmother said, how many times would you have to hear that hardware store doesn't sell oranges before you would stop going in and asking for oranges? And the woman said, "Well, I hope it wouldn't take too many." And the grandmother said, how long is it going to take for you to quit frustrating yourself over the way your sister is when she's been this way? You know she's been this way. She is this way, and she probably will be this way. Do you want to keep trying to buy oranges at a hardware store? Because that's just as foolish. I like it. We distress ourselves over somebody in our lives who is a certain way, whether it's your spouse about a habit, whether it's a in-law or a parent or a grown child who has certain ways about them that you get irked over. Now, notice I didn't say that irk you, that you get irked about, because that's putting the irkness in your hands. They can't irk you if you don't want to be irked. You ever think about that's a weird word, isn't it? Irk. It sounds like you're kind of just gargling. Irk. Girl's another one of those. Girl. If you ever think about it, it just sounds funny. And if you say something like, "Well, that girl irked me," we do this. We keep trying to buy oranges at a hardware store over and over and over and over because we just don't accept. And by accept, I mean realize that is the way they are. You're not going to do a whole lot about it. "Well, Dr. Ray, shouldn't you try? Shouldn't you tell them how you feel if you can do it diplomatically?" Yeah, go ahead. If it works, great. Most of the time it doesn't. Because that's an intransigent habit that they have. Keep that in mind. Next time somebody frustrates you repeatedly and has been doing so for how many years now? is tell yourself, am I going to walk into that hardware store and ask for oranges again? 877-573-7825. 877-57-EQUAL. Let's get to your calls. I would love to talk to you. Thank you.
Join Guest House for their 6th annual Run Over Addiction 5K and the 1 Mile Fun Run Saturday, August 1st at the Scripps Mansion in Lake Orion. Virtual 5K runners can also join from anywhere in the world. Your participation helps ensure that the ordained and consecrated, including those in formation, can access care for addictions and other behavioral health conditions. To run or to sponsor, click the Events tab at guesthouse.org today.
I've always loved to write. It never seemed like work. I used to carry a little notebook around as a little girl and write poems and stories. I later discovered that one of my charisms is writing, so the fact that it brings me such joy is no longer a surprise to me. When my clients struggle with communicating a message or they dread having a conversation with someone, I always suggest they write their thoughts first. I even recommend dialoguing a conversation they anticipate having with someone in order to gain clarity about what they want to communicate. Don't worry about the spelling and grammar, just write down your thoughts. There's a ton of research that shows the benefits of journaling and writing things down. Few people write personal notes to each other anymore. I love it when I receive a handwritten letter or note in the mail. There's something very personal about it. Journaling can be meditative, a way to pray and dialogue with God. Writing gives us clarity, and in the written word, we see God speak. This has been a Christ-Centered Communication Message. I'm Vanessa Denha-Garmo, a communications evangelist and host of Epiphany.
Ave Maria in the Afternoon is underwritten by the following nonprofit organization: Real Estate for Life. Buying or selling your home or business property? Real Estate for Life can connect you with one of 1,400 pro-life real estate agents around the world. When Real Estate for Life receives a referral fee, they donate 70% to Ave Maria Radio and Human Life International. More information at realestateforlife.org or 877-LIFE-US1. That's realestateforlife.org.
Dr. Ray Guarendi, a pen light on your path to psychological wholeness. Mark is struggling with something that is more and more coming to the fore these days as people pretty much just decide to do it the way they want to do it. Kind of like my monologue recently where I said, yeah, I'm Catholic, but I don't agree with everything the church says. And when I don't agree, I'm going to do what I want. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Dr. Ray. Thank you for taking my call.
You're standing all alone on this one, huh?
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, alone on the in-law side. My sister and my mom and brother support me on this, but yeah, on my wife and my mother-in-law, they are 100% opposing me.
How opposing are they? Are they so angry at you that they're going to retreat emotionally, or they just basically say, well, we don't agree?
Basically what it is so my wife and I have had lengthy discussions on this, and basically it's come down to, she's like, okay, Mark, I recognize, you have, these logical arguments. She even used the words, I can tell you're right, and I hate it that you're right, but I still want to go anyways. But I'm tired of hearing your responses to these, reasons to go or not to go. So I'm just done talking about it with you. So we actually have not really talked about it in probably a week or so. But what's coming down is, we've received the invitation. We have to RSVP. So eventually there's, we have to make a definitive decision. I am 100% not going to go for reasons of, I don't know how much you want me to talk about versus how much, you've already just read from the call screener. But, I'm never going to do something that celebrates immorality, never going to do something that gives the approval that, gives the impression that I approve of something immoral. And three, you don't want to do anything that would possibly cause scandal, meaning I don't want people to say, oh, well, what, this woman's doing must be okay. Mark and his wife came and participated and celebrated it. Oh, so therefore what she's doing must be okay. Other helpful information for you possibly is my wife and I have been married a year and a half. We have a 7-month-old son, and I have a 3-year-old nephew and a 1-year-old niece. So, plenty of young children, obviously very young, but scandal is definitely something kind of at the forefront of my mind of hey, I want to be cautious of this.
The ones who...
So right now, I guess, there's lots of just the tension in terms of, she's upset. Yeah, I guess I already said it. She said, I can tell you're right, but I hate it that you're right, and I wish, I still want to go anyways. And my mother-in-law is saying, oh, well, we have to be there for everybody's life moments, and I'm not going to let some church teaching, stop me from doing that.
There it is. I don't agree with the church on that one, so I'm not going to let it affect me. Okay, for those who can't not read my computer screen, Mark has a cousin who he says is Catholic, and they're getting married in a barn somewhere to a non-Christian. So it's kind of a unequally yoked.
He might be Christian. He's not Catholic. I don't know if was ever raised Christian, but he's not Catholic.
All right. So all that said, you said that your mom, your sister, and somebody else thinks about this the way you do, correct?
That is correct. And that's exactly it. My sister, my brother, and my mom.
Are they not going?
Yeah, because it's not my cousin. It's my wife's cousin.
Oh, okay. So they're not even. They didn't even get him.
So none of those people, my sister,
invited.
brother, mom, they're not invited.
All right, I got you.
Because it's my wife's cousin.
Well, you're following your conscience. You're saying I cannot, in good conscience, go to this. Now, the cousin who is Catholic, has she not stepped inside a church for the last 12 years? Or she just called herself Catholic?
I'm sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
She called herself Catholic because she was baptized, and that was it?
She was baptized. She was confirmed. My wife is even her confirmation sponsor. I know she's been in the church within the last 12 months because she came to my son's baptism in January. And even though I've told her and other family members that they shouldn't be receiving communion, she received communion anyways. Anywho, yes, she's been in the church, been inside the church within the last 12 months, has received communion, even though she really shouldn't. So that's the situation.
What will your wife do if you don't go?
If I don't go, she'll just be mad that I'm not going. Right now, it's still up in the air as to if she goes or not. I've told her that I think she should not go either. That the three of us, me, her, my son, that we should all just refrain from going. So
your wife, I suspect your wife does not have the willingness to take the heat that she would get risking a rift. That would be my guess.
A rift? You mean like with her extended family members?
Yep.
That is, yeah, she has cited that as a reason. She's straight up said, well, I can't do anything that would risk making enemies with my family members, so I just have to go. To which I said, well, is that reasoning, is that really in line with the example of the saints? Is that really what, Thomas More, Francis de Sales?
She don't want to hear that, Mark. You make her mad when you do that.
That is true.
I would say this.
But am I wrong?
No, but that's, so what? So what? You can be fully right, and she just is going to do what she wants anyway because emotionally she's threatened by them withdrawing from her. All of them saying, if you don't do what we want you to do, we're going to write you out of our lives. Boy, I'll tell you what, anybody does that to me, that you try to emotionally bully me like that, you lose. So here's what I would say. Tell your wife, I cannot tell you what to do. I've made my case. You decide. But if you go, that's okay. You can go and you can bring our little one. The little one doesn't know. But understand, I can't in good conscience go. That's where I'm at. So you're not going to prohibit her from going. Hopefully, right, at some point, she'll realize that the folks that she's compromising with will probably continue to seek compromises. In other words, let's say that 6 years from now you decide to homeschool your little one. Well, they ain't going to like that. They're going to look at your wife like, what? Is Mark making you a freak weirdo? I mean, it's not going to be the first time. It's not going to be the first time that you try to go according to your conscience. Now, there are those who would say, well, boy, this is really a murky area. What do you do when you risk all kinds of relationships? And I've heard priests say you got to weigh it. I've heard them say it. But
I have to.
But your conscience says, you got to go with your conscience. It says, I can't do this. Okay. You'll take the heat. Your wife won't. Maybe I just go to her and say, honey, I'm more able to take the heat from this. I'll ride it out and whatever happens. And then if she says, watch out, because this could be the jack of spades, the right bar. She could say, well, if you don't go, they're going to be mad at our whole family, and that's going to include me. She hasn't said that yet, has she?
She has not.
Okay, good. All right, that's good. So at this point, I think what you're witnessing is that she may intellectually say, Mark makes a good case. That's why she doesn't want to hear it anymore, because you're making her all upset. But she's too scared. She's flat out too scared of what the repercussions would be. That's where she's at. And you could even ask her that. You could say, honey, if nobody would get mad at you, if they would all say that whatever your wife's name is acting according to her conscience, and we respect that, would you go or would you not go? Oh, I probably wouldn't go. Okay. So you at least you can let her say it out loud.
Yeah, another reason that she's listed for why she wants to go is she's afraid that, if she doesn't go, that that she would end up never seeing this cousin again.
Well, there it is. That's the family rift.
Argument.
Well, I know, but
yeah.
she's putting the most extreme repercussion on it. And I Mark, I am buffaloed, perplexed, flummoxed by all the people who say, I'm going to do it my way morally, and if you want to do it your way according to church teaching, well, you risk the relationship with me because I have no tolerance. Yeah, it's mind-numbing. I probably could count on my left hand the number of times I've heard somebody say, I totally don't agree with what you're doing, but I understand the moral perspective you're coming from and why you're doing this and why you want to adhere to the church teachings on this, so I respect it. Ha! Nah.
Yeah, I've never heard that once, but I realize you're older than I am, so.
Hey, I'm 5 times older than you are. Good luck there, Mark. Watch out. Okay, my friend.
Thanks, Doctor. I appreciate it.
All right. 877-573-7825. I'm going to my next call, but I will get cut off because I only got a minute and a half. So let me do a little congratulating here. We got a boatload of EWTN affiliates and networks, too. Some 400-plus stations and worldwide 500-plus. And, of course, now all the ways to listen through apps and through Sirius Satellite Channel 130. Well, we got another affiliate celebrating an anniversary. KYEJ and KRYX, serving Fairmont, Minnesota, both English and Spanish. They've been around for 11 years. Steve Landsteiner and everybody there at Fairmont. Oh, Fairmont. Okay, bad glasses here. Fairmont Area Catholic Radio from all of us here at EWTN. 877-573-7825 is the number to get onto the program. I would be delighted to have you. My website's drray.com, DRRAY.com. There you can find the bookstore with some 18, 19 books, I think, something like that. People say, how can you write so many books? So I learned a secret. Can't worry about them being all that good. There you go. Please don't believe me on that. I am working on a new book, The 3 Most Humble People I Know, and How I Taught the Other 2. Yeah, that's my humility book. It's part of my humility series. So we'll get to your calls right after the break here because the music in seconds is starting, and I ate up enough airtime. Thank you so much for joining me here on The Doctors In co-production, EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network and Ave Maria Radio Communications. Let's go to Andrew, calling from Sioux Falls. Hi, Andrew.
Ray, thanks for taking my call.
You're going to use my oranges analogy here?
Yeah. No, you kind of inspired me with that one. I don't know that it's I didn't go so far as to go all the way with this, but it's kind of we're hitting a fracture point a little bit. So some background. My parents all have 4 kids. We all live pretty close to them to varying degrees. So we get some grandparent time, which is great. But there's a lot of grandkids, and so some of the troubles end up being that I don't know, my siblings, married different people. Some of them came from more broken homes than others. And some of us have more stable spouses. So when it's kind of coming down to is the in-laws that are less stable, their grandkids get different priorities and different allowances with the grandparents, and it's getting
So you think
tough
your kids
for
are
us
your kids are not being treated fairly in the whole scheme of things?
That's the essence of it, yeah. I think what's precipitating it for me is sending the kids over for an overnight, kind of hoping it'd be an opportunity for them to, get to know their grandparents more and vice versa. They're both pretty young kids, 4 and 3. So it's kind of formative for them, and come to find out after the fact that the other cousins are coming over at the same time, kind of, without us knowing. And so it kind of ruins that effect. And then the kids come home with the bad habits from the cousins, and you find out
Andrew, that would seem to me to be your bigger concern, which is if these cousins are being raised kind of turbulently, and their family is not necessarily stable enough, or is raising them very differently than you and your other siblings are, then these kids are going to be more worldly. And if they're older, then in fact, your little 3 and 4-year-old, of course, are going to be influenced by them. And you have to decide if indeed you want your kids to be around them when you're not there. That's the concern. The idea that your parents are showing, if you want to call it favoritism toward the other ones, might be better understood if you look at it like, for whatever the reason, they're trying to compensate for what they see as these grandkids not having what yours do. Is compensation a factor there? In other words, they see this one child of theirs, whether it's the son or daughter, not living real well, and their kids are somewhat feeling the ill effects. And therefore, as grandparents, they're going to do everything they can to, quote unquote, make allowances, to be a little more materially giving, whatever way it shows itself, they're doing that. Do you think that's a component in all this?
Yeah, I think that definitely is. It's, just the fact that they were allowed over. I mean, these cousins live within walking distance of the grandparents, so there's a lot of opportunity for that to happen. But
Andrew, do you know their motive for doing this?
Whose motive?
Your parents.
They're great grandparents. They're willing to do anything for their kids and anything for their grandkids. So they're kind of subsidizing the lifestyle a little bit.
So you don't know their motive. You don't know their motive for why they invited the other grandkids over. You're just saying, I don't like that they did it. But their motive could have been sincere, could have been genuine, could have been feeling sorry for the other kids. Whatever it was, if you misread that motive, you'll be more upset.
Yeah, I think I was just more hurt by the fact that it was kept secret.
Maybe they didn't keep it secret. Maybe they didn't think anything about it. Maybe their attitude was. Now, you said they're good grandparents. They do anything for their kids. So they didn't tell you that they invited the other kids over. So what? If it were me, I would only be concerned about the fact that those other kids may be older and more worldly. Now, that would be a problem for me. And I probably would tell my parents, I say, look, Mom, my 4-year-old and 3-year-old are very innocent. We're trying to keep their innocence. And these kids are exposed to things we don't expose our kids to. So at this point, probably don't want them around their cousins until we're there. Would your parents understand that?
Yeah, I think so. I think they could appreciate that.
Let me comfort you. Let me comfort you on this, Andrew. In between what you're saying, I'm picking up that you're figuring, okay, my kids are going to get shortchanged because they're bending over backwards to try to smooth over the life fractures in the other grandkids. And my kids, unfortunately, are perhaps not going to have the kind of relationship with their grandparents that I'd like them to have, because the grandparents feel obliged to put more efforts into these other kids that they feel are very shortchanged. I don't think so. I think your kids are very lucky to have you and your wife. And what you give your kids is probably much more stability than your brother or your sister, whoever it is giving their kids. So I wouldn't be caught up in my kids are going to get shortchanged.
Yeah, and that's a good perspective to have, and I'll have to keep that in mind. I think there's also my brother's in a very similar situation. He's got a very stable home life and raising the kids in a very similar manner, and they're a little bit further along in this realization than probably me and my wife, just because they're feeling more the lack of time with the grandparents, because there's just only so much that can be given by the grandparents. I'll throw a motive at you that I'll speculate on, and I've seen it many times. There may be some guilt on your parents' part as they look at this particular child that they raised, and they may feel like, where did we go wrong? And they may feel like or think like that the grandkids are suffering because of what they didn't do as parents, and now they're trying to make up for it as best they can. Be my guess. Thanks, Andrew. Thank you for joining me here on The Doctor Is In. I used to have the Springer Guarantee when Jerry Springer was on. You listen to any parts of this program, and we guarantee that your child or grandchildren will never be on Jerry Springer. Until I had a lady call the program, and she says, I listen. And she said her son was on Jerry Springer. And I said, on stage? She said, no, in the audience. Ha ha. Okay, I can't guarantee you won't be in the audience. Tracy's calling from, sounds like The Rock in Cleveland, Ohio, sister station here in northeastern Ohio. Hi, Tracy. Hello,
Hi,
Tracy.
Dr. Ray.
Hey, yes, ma'am.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome, dear.
I was just calling about the previous caller who talked about the wedding for his wife's cousin.
Mm-hmm.
And, feeling like whether or not he should go because it's not a Catholic wedding. I didn't quite hear the beginning of it, so I'm not sure if he didn't go because the cousin claims to be Catholic and is not having a Catholic wedding.
Cousin claims to be Catholic, and they're getting. Do you have your radio on, Tracy? You might have to turn it off there. I'm going to hear myself twice, and if I say something dumb, I don't want to say it twice dumb.
Okay. No,
Okay.
I just said you on speaker.
Now, he said that the wife's cousin, is getting married in a barn in a non-Catholic service, just a secular service, to a non-Catholic, and he wasn't sure if it was a non-believer. And he said his conscience just didn't permit him to go for a number of reasons. And you said you thought it was the Catholic position was to go not to cause a rift. No, that's not true. There are certain unions that the Catholic Church is very definite on, which is a same-sex union. No way, no how can you go to that. On the other hand, go ahead. Ask your question there, Tracy.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like, what if the people just were not Catholic? Or
well, you can go to a non-Catholic wedding, of
Christian.
Course. Oh, you can go to that too, of course.
Yeah.
The situation arises when a Catholic, and even sadly, many times they are Catholic because of their baptism, but they haven't walked as a Catholic for years. When they decide, I'm going to marry someone else outside the church, I'm going to marry someone else in a civil ceremony, justice of the peace, etc., and then they invite you to the ceremony, what do? Now, I've heard priests say in situations like that, if there is a serious problem, let's say it's your son, okay, and you recognize this could be something that could cause great problems within the family, then you weigh it, all right. And perhaps you tell your son, you understand, I'm not at all in agreement with this because of, I believe, what the church teaches. But I'm going to be there because you are my son. Now, I've heard priests advise that. I've heard other priests say no. In his case, Tracy, the guy that called, it was his conscience. His conscience said, I can't. And the church gives a real preeminence to conscience, a fully formed conscience, a rightly formed conscience. And his view was, I can't. Now, his wife was scared to death that if she didn't go and celebrate with them, however they wanted to celebrate, she would risk losing family members. That was her fear. That's why I raised the question to him to ask her if they all were okay with you not going, if they said, we respect that you have a different moral worldview than we do, and you believe that worldview is true, we respect that. So therefore, we totally understand if you wish not to come. We'll see you later at the house. I said, would you go?
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was asking. I mean, we do have a similar situation. Obviously not exactly, but and I was told that, if not attending would cause an issue with the family, then attending would be okay.
You were told that by whom?
Probably, radio shows. I mean, nobody specific.
Okay, so you've heard a priest talk about it, or somebody knowledgeable in the Catholic faith talk about that on Catholic radio.
Yeah, like a 1260. I mean, that is all I listen to.
And that is not unusual. Okay, there are priests who say that. There are others who take a more, what's the word I would be looking for? A more narrow, I don't even want to say narrow. They would say an alternative view on that. And it shows you the fuzziness of all this, because more and more of our relatives and our friends who were raised Catholic or who were baptized and went through the sacraments as Catholic. Did you notice something, Tracy, that he said, though, when his wife's cousin's family was at church, and I don't know why they were at church, but they were at church, and he mentioned to them, please don't go to communion. And they went.
Right, for the baptism of his son.
That's it. Yeah. And they went anyway, remember?
Yeah.
Which tells me their attitude.
At least the cousin did.
Yeah, their attitude is, no church is going to tell me what to do. And that to me would be a condition in how I would look at something like this too. So if you're just going to sit there and say, "Hey, Catholic Church, get lost," you're not going to tell me what I can do and what I can't do. All right. You've made your statement.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Tracy. You take good care, dear. This is Dr. Ray.
All right, you too.
Break time, one of my many, and I can't even say mandated because Andrew Kruchek, my producer man, corrects me. You can't say mandated. One of my many people dated breaks.
Welcome to Advanced Dentistry Center family. This is Dr. Metti, and our team strives to treat you like family in a loving and compassionate way as we focus on serving you in a Christ-like manner. We do this by emphasizing prevention and general well-being for a lifetime. Our private practice is small, personal, state-of-the-art, and innovative, with the goal to educate and motivate our patients in improving their oral health. It is through a partnership with you that you will achieve the goals for your smile. Advanced Dentistry is serious about the level of care we provide, with attention to details and an exceptional level of care, skill, and judgment. We are thrilled for the opportunity to serve you.
Dr. Matty and the team invite you to visit them at advanceddentistrycenter.com or call them at 248-594-9592. That's 248-594-9592. AdvancedDentistryCenter.com.
For 30 years, Ave Maria Radio has been bringing the light of Christ into your homes and cars. To honor this milestone, we want to celebrate the power of God's grace through your voice. Did a program spark a profound conversion in your life, or has a message reaffirmed your faith when you needed it most? Call us at 734-930-5200. That's 734-930-5200. Share your journey and help us celebrate 30 years of proclaiming the gospel.
Attention, fellow Christians. In honor of our nation's 250th anniversary, Advocates for Faith and Freedom is hosting a dinner and silent auction Thursday, September 10th at St. John's Resort in Plymouth. Join us to defend religious liberty, free speech, and the sanctity of life. For over 20 years, Advocates for Faith and Freedom have provided free legal services to protect constitutional rights. Business owners, support this important cause. Visit AveMariaRadio.net and click on events.
There is a grand irony that was brought up in our previous calls. Happens a lot. Probably has happened to you. My guess would be that Andrew's relatives, who are upset at the idea that he might not attend his wife's Catholic cousin's civil service in a barn, would accuse him of being narrow-minded, intolerant, judgmental, bigoted. Those are the standard words thrown at somebody who has a certain moral standard. And I see this broadly across our whole culture, especially in the areas of sexuality, especially in the areas of morals as it pertains to marriage, family life. And that is your problem, religious person, is that you're judgmental. You're intolerant. You're intolerant. You don't accept that other people look at it differently than you. You just want to impose your morals on everybody. Now, Andrew is not imposing his morals on anybody. He tried to get his wife to see it his way, but he wasn't imposing it on anybody. He wasn't imposing it on his wife's cousin. How could he impose it on his wife's cousin? What's he going to do? Say, you can't get married in a barn? You're Catholic. Yeah, good luck with that one. But at the same time, the other folks on his wife's cousin's side, her parents, and whoever else is associated, wife's sister, whatever. They don't allow Andrew to look at things his way. He allows them to look at it their way. He's not saying you can't do this, and if you do this, I will shut you out of my life. He didn't do that. I didn't pick up any of that, did you? He just simply said, I, because of what I believe and how I understand what the church is teaching, through my conscience can't go or won't go. He's not allowed. He's not allowed to do that. I've seen relentlessly, repeatedly, sorry for the superfluous pleonasm, that those who demand the most tolerance can be among the most intolerant. One of the other things that's happening in there is personalization. Personalization is a term that shrinks give to reading a motive as a direct comment upon me. In other words, if Andrew doesn't go, it's not read as I have certain moral standards that I want to adhere to. That's not what it's read as. What it's read as is you are dissing me. You are not respecting me. You are not allowing and celebrating what I wish to do. You have no right to do that. That's really the message. Distilled right down to its fundamental core. That is the message. Andrew, I hope you're still listening. You're not allowed to do that. But Dr. Ray, they didn't say he's not allowed. Of course they did. Their actions say he's not allowed. Their actions say, if you do this, we will probably write you out of our lives. Now, Andrew doesn't think they'll do that. He just thinks they'll be upset. I hope he's right. Unfortunately, I've seen way too many times where that's the punishment inflicted. If you don't applaud what I do, if you don't agree with it, acknowledge it, accept it, I'll punish you. I will retreat from you emotionally. I will sever you from my life. That's one of the big reasons why so many of these adults, these grown adults, are severing their parents. Moral, religious, political. I don't like the way you think, Mom and Dad. I don't like the way you look at things. Therefore, get away from me. If that's not a lack of tolerance, I don't know what is. And there's one more irony here, now that I'm on a roll. The irony is, those folks who most want you to celebrate whatever choices they make morally, by and large, are not what you would consider traditionally religious people. They don't necessarily adhere to a Judeo-Christian or Catholic perspective on things. They don't. So therefore, they're not obliged to be forgiving. Right? If I say I'm going to get married any way that I want, and I don't care what the Catholic Church says, even though I'm Catholic, I'm going to go to communion, even though I haven't stepped inside a church for the last 4 years. Well, I deserve to do that. Who are they to tell me I can't? Those are also the folks, if they're not going to obey certain moral teachings of the church, why would they obey teachings of the church like tolerance and forgiveness and charity? I'll bet Andrew ain't going to get one bit of charity from those relatives if he doesn't go to that wedding. They don't feel obliged to give him charity. Why should they? If they're going to do what they want to do regarding their own marriage morally, why would they step even higher and say, I'm going to forgive you, Andrew, I'm going to accept that you too have your own way of looking at things because you believe deeply in what the church teaches, and that's your understanding of what the church teaches. Not allowed. Not allowed. Thank you for joining me here on The Doctor Is In. I appreciate it. Appreciate your company. Appreciate Andrew Gruchek there over at Ave Maria and all the people at EWTN. What a privilege. What a privilege to be able to be part of all this. Never would have thunk it.
For information on Dr. Ray's presentations, books, and CDs, visit DRA.com and follow him on Facebook and Instagram. The Doctor Is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.